Hello, YouTube. Thank you for tuning into my channel. This is Azrael, and today we're going to talk about a couple of the major arcana. Okay, starting from the last one, which is the Empress, the archetypical mother. Okay, now you're going to learn that once you look at the cards and you learn some of the basic meanings, that they seem to overlap, taking on a aspect of its previous one, pointing to the preceding one. The example is, of course, the fool, which is foolish, and then the wise, which is the magician, and then you have the female aspect of the magician, the empress. I'm sorry, the high priestess. Okay, and then the high priestess, which is a leader, a spiritual leader. You get the empress, which is the person of manifestation, which is the same thing, which is the same thing as the magician who manifestates, female aspect. And then the empress, which is, of course, the archetypical mother, who is the moral and spiritual leader of the child she raises. So she's a nurturer, okay, which is, again, pointing towards the high priestess. This is the same thing. The next higher arcana is you guessed it, the emperor, okay, the male aspect of the empress. Now, the emperor rules over the physical, as opposed to the empress, which rules over the spiritual, nurturing, moral, protective, guiding, spiritually guiding their child to do the right thing. If you're an atheist or a spiritual, it doesn't matter. You still teach you still teach your child to do the right thing. Don't steal, don't lie. You know, same thing. It's a form of spiritual guidance, regardless if you believe in spirit or not. The male aspect rules over the physical, so it's physical disciplines. You're looking at institutions of knowledge, school, law, even medical, a place that you physically go to learn, as opposed to being at home and learn. From the empress, you learn from the emperor when you go to institutions. Okay, so it's the kind of the opposite. It touches base of the prior card, and it will point to the next card, which would be the I believe it's called the Hierophant, which I like, and I'm going to give a little bit of esoteric meaning on that too. What the hell is a Hierophant? But anyways, so this rules over institutions of knowledge, laws. He is the protector, the male archetypical father. Okay, pull what meanings you want from those keywords. The Hierophant. A lot of people don't know what the Hierophant is. Don't even know what the Hierophant word means. Originally, in older decks, this would be the Pope card. A Pope, regardless of your religious standings, a Pope is supposed to be the spiritual authority, spiritual leader. He says what goes. Pulling away, now understand, these tarot cards were designed back in a time when everybody was Christian, even witches. They carried the old rituals of healing and whatnot, the old ancient knowledge, but they still worshipped a Christian God. So anybody who says Christians can't be witches don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, that's a different video. The Hierophant was the name of a priesthood in ancient Greece. Okay, here coming from two separate words. It's a compound word. Hierophant is a compound word. Hieros and Favant. Hieros meaning secret knowledge, and Favant to reveal. So this is any person, could be a Christian priest or it could be a pagan priest, doesn't matter. It could even be an atheist authority, a friend or parent, anybody that gives you moral or spiritual guidance, or what can be considered spiritual guidance, even if they don't believe in the spirit. So the Hierophant is a teacher of spiritual law. In this aspect, anybody you watch on YouTube teaching courses would be a Hierophant, okay, based on the words, because they're teaching you the hidden knowledge. So now any card in the deck, any card, a major arcana or a court card or a lesser arcana, can be a person, place, or thing. Okay, they could be a legitimate person you know. It could be a person, a metaphysical person that you know that didn't exist. I don't say metaphysical. I should say fall. If you pull strength from, say, Harry Potter or some other fictional character, they can represent a fictional character that gives you moral guidance. Okay, it's, believe it or not, these cards can mean more than one thing. You have 78 cards. The human experience is more complex than 78 possibilities. So these 78 cards have to have multiple meanings. You could take the 22 Arcana alone and just use them, and it will still take you over 100 years if you use only a half of them, only 11 little slots, and you only use half of the cards. The human experience is so vast, and the cards can be so meaningful in various situations. It could possibly take you over 100 years of possible interpretations, according to one authority. Anyway, but I believe it. I mean, and before I go any further, again, you don't have to use the reverse meanings. There's several cards that have enough negativity to compensate for reverse meanings. And you'll be drawing heavily upon your intuition to know if a card is positive or negative by its surrounding cards and your interaction with the current or the person asking the question. I don't necessarily always use reverse meanings because I don't have a card tell me what the meaning is when the rest of the cards and the current is basically screaming in my face what it should mean. So use your intuition and use your judgment. There are several people who use reverse meanings, and they're perfect and they're excellent card readers. And there are people that don't use the reverse meanings, and they are perfect. And I won't be doing videos on the reverse meanings simply because it's common sense. If you use the reverse meanings, obviously, if, say, the Lover's card, which the key word in this situation is to choose, or I choose, then you don't choose. It's forced. Okay? You see, in the original deck, it was lover, not the lovers. But this talks about being, choosing what is right for you and what is right for others, and finding a perfect balance between. You see, this doesn't necessarily mean a relationship, which it does. It can mean that. But it's telling the person who's reading the cards that the person who asked the question needs to find a balance. You see, a perfect relationship has a balance. It is an ebb and flow. My wife and I we argue, but we know each other, and we know each other's needs, and we know each other's positions. So our arguments don't usually last very long because we know how the other person thinks, and we understand where they're coming from, and we choose to get the fuck over it. We choose to treat each other with respect. We choose to let go of things that need to be let go, and we choose to hold on to things that need to be held on to. So it is a call to not only treat your wife or husband or friend, even the stranger, equally, to treat them like you want to be treated. And of course, so this basically means a form of balance, emotional balance. And the key word is I choose. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's a choice between two living people. It could be a choice between you and your job. It could be a choice between you and other situations. All right. It is the balance, finding the soulmate. If you're asking about a job and this appears, maybe the job ain't right for you. If it's in a negative setting, maybe you don't feel like you chose to be in the job. You're forced into it. And it's telling you need to start filling out applications to find a balance in your life. So this could represent an obvious relationship between two human beings, but it could also mean the relationship between a situation and a person, their love for the situation. And is it I chose or I forced? Balance. Positive and negative, male and female. Getting a balance. The Chariot. All right. This has an esoteric meaning, which I'll go into, which will make the video slightly longer than I wish it to be. All right. The Chariot is control, being able to control your situations. You see, This harkens. Now, there's not a lot of evidence to prove that this is where this comes from, but you notice the black and the white sphinx or sphinx, as opposed in other decks where it's a black and white horse. Also, if you hearken that the Hierophant, I'm sorry, the Chariot and the High Priestess card has a black and white pillar. This has a black and white sphinx pulling the Chariot. This harkens to, if you've studied ancient philosophers, you'll probably be aware of what's called Plato's allegory, chariot allegory of the human soul. All right, he taught that the human soul has two natures. You have the logic and reason, and then the primal. Okay, what should be done and what you want to do. How many times have you been so pissed off you just wanted to hit somebody upside the head? But you know that's not the rational thing to do. All right, this is being able to control situations, both metaphysical and physical. That everything has a duality, and it is up to the charioteer to try to gain control over the two conflicting natures. So Plato's allegory of the human soul basically said that the human soul is like a chariot being pulled with two horses with wings, one representing logic and reason, and the other representing the primal nature, chaos, and animalistic impulse. Obviously, if you have one horse pulling this way and the other horse pulling that way, it's going to cause a bad time as a charioteer. So as you're making your journey to enlightenment or to the gods in Plato's allegory, one brings you closer, one pulls you away. And you, as the charioteer, need to keep them balanced and under control. So this is control. All right, this is the teaching you have a balance. You are the charioteer. You're the one driving the car. You're the one driving the chariot, and it's up to you to know when something goes wrong with what you're driving or what you're guiding to take it back under control. If you're like, for example, if you're in a car, you're driving down the road and there's a mechanical problem, you get a flat tire going at 70, you can lose control or you can stay calm and regain control. All right, it's Plato's allegory of the human soul stating that we have two natures and it is our job to control the aspect of the two natures to work in harmony. So control and harmony, and guidance. These are the key words for the chariot. This is all for this video. Hope to see you next time in the next. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.